Hi, I'm Kristen Martineau. I help ex-Mormon women rediscover themselves through life coaching and therapeutic art. So today we are talking about our second therapeutic art exercise related to Fowler's Stages of Faith. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the podcast because I did an entire podcast about this. And also please sign up for the Monday Muse newsletter. It goes along with the podcast every week, and I send you instructions for how to do these therapeutic art exercises. This one is about Fowler's Stages of Faith. So what I want you to do is just divide your paper into 6 sections. I started out with this, and I hated it for some reason, but now that I'm looking back, I kind of like it. So just however you want. I didn't end up using this one. I'll show you mine that I did use. I just ended up doing circles, and I only did 5. You don't have to do 6 necessarily because the earlier stages you probably don't remember or relate to as much. So I just did 5 circles representing each stage, and the email that you have has reminders about what each of the stages are, so you just don't have to remember it from the podcast. So I just put each one in a different circle: stage 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then I just wrote down what stage it was, and then some like general characteristics of that stage. So stage 2 is where stories are literal, like scripture stories are literal. There's very rigid rules, and there's reward and punishment. And then I kind of tried to just think back to like my mental state when I was in that stage and color it in or decorate it in like some kind of representational way. So for this one, you can see it's pink, and it's pretty simple. There's like just little flowers. And I think for me, this just kind of symbolized like innocence and simplicity. And then stage 3 here, I wrote authority, fitting in, conflict avoidant, community. So this one ended up being a little darker, and I added these gold lines because this stage felt a lot more rigid to me. This is the stage where we, try to conform with our community because we don't want to be rejected, right? So that was mine. And then stage 4 here looks like a ocean sunset. This is questioning, autonomy, deconstruction, doubt. So I divided this in 2 because it felt like in this stage I was kind of like splitting parts of myself. Like I was starting to doubt what I had always believed and deconstructing and gaining some autonomy. And so while it was like sort of a difficult transition, it also ended up being beautiful. And then stage 5 here, this is also divided in 2, but I've made a yin yang because it's just more integrated. So stage 5 is paradox, complexity, wisdom, multiple truths, and mystery. And then stage 6 here ended up looking just kind of like a Earth globe view. Stage 6, most people don't get to remember, but this is transcendence, radical compassion, universal love, and justice. So this just represented like a worldview that's like more inclusive and loving. So when you're doing these, like I said, you can divide your paper in however many sections you want, 5 or 6. It can be squares, circles, whatever you want to do. And don't overthink this part. Like just when I'm doing these therapeutic art exercises, I just like go with the first thing that pops into my mind, and there doesn't have to be any like explanation of why you chose that. Like sometimes it is insightful and it matches what you're thinking, and sometimes not, and that's totally fine. So just go with like your initial impulse. So that was mine. And then there's some reflection questions. the reflection questions are in your email, so I'm not going to read them all to you, but I just like to share like maybe one or two of my insights from doing this. So one of the questions is, what judgments were you making about the stages that you're in or people were in? And I realized that I was kind of judging myself, like looking back on the stages that I've been in, like especially stage 3, just thinking like, oh, I was so rigid and I was like, you know, trying to conform, and realizing that that's just a developmental phase, right? It's not a personality trait. Like everyone has to go through that phase to get to the next phase. So there's nothing wrong with being in that phase. Yeah, so just remembering it's a developmental process, and also that is true for the people around me. So for friends and family members that maybe don't understand where I'm at right now, just understanding that is okay. The developmental stage they're in is required and necessary, and it's where they need to be right now. So it's there's nothing wrong with that, and just remembering like we all have to go through the phases. So that was mine. Tell me your thoughts. You can just respond to the email you got from me, or if you do this and want to post it on Instagram, just tag me at Mormon to Muse, because I would love to see your artwork and what you came up with and how you approached it. So yeah, that's it for today. Bye.